and welcome to the Service Operations Podcast. I am your host, 𝗖𝘂𝘀𝘁𝗺𝗏. Our guests are from different industries and functions. They will share their experience, strategies, and the changing landscape to help you take the service operations of your business to the next level. Hello Manasi, so nice to have you in this conversation. And you've been in this branding and communication industry for a really long time. Tell us something about your journey and then we'll take it forward from there.
Thank you, 𝗖𝘂𝘀. Firstly, I would like to say it's really great to be on this chat with you. And thank you so much for this opportunity. It just feels lovely to be reconnecting with you and chatting with you. So like you rightly said, it's been quite a while now. I've been in the, say, communications, brand, customer service kind of functions. I started out with market research, and then I, consumer insights and everything, as you know, moved into customer service. So it was a combination. Actually, I always consider myself lucky because people have, get caught in single functions. But I kept moving on like the Lego blocks, and my at 𝗖𝘂𝘀𝘁𝗺𝗏, the tryst with customer service was the first time, where it was market research for customer service. So that gives a perspective when you're crossing, you're working cross-functional. And then, of course, I stayed a communications lead role. So that also added on as a block. Went on to Times of India, to actually where I started building brands. And of course, I had a small stint in the Diamond Council, and now I'm with a startup which is building really, really good, exciting, young tech-based brands. So that's what in very short, that was my journey. In this entire journey, I actually, in hindsight, realized that when I actually started getting down to building brands, it really helped me that I had experience with customer service. I had experience with market research. I had experience with communication, and I didn't straight away get into brand building, right? Because ultimately, what is a brand? Just to get to the basics, it is, is it the product? Is it design? Is it the communication? Is it the service? What is it? And the answer is it's none of any of these. It's a combination of all of them. And that is very, very important because the customer always looks at you as a unified company or a unified service, right? Internally, a lot of us look at it, and that's natural. Internally, you look at it as different functions, like product design, customer service, and et cetera, et cetera. But the customer looks at you as one. So the first learning I had is brand is a 360-degree thing. It's everything. And of late, there are these discussions, even you would have heard them. There are many articles about, is brand building dead? There's so much commoditization happening because of, online shopping and this and that, and nobody cares about brands anymore and stuff like that. So, I'm a firm believer that brand building is not dead, and brand building will be never dead. But like everything else in life, it is dynamic, and it will change as, the evolution happens and as we move along. So I think the need of the hour today is, the whole point of brand building from ages has been to differentiate. People should be able to know your product from others. That was the whole concept of brand building. But increasingly so now, differentiation has become a bigger challenge. There's a lot of talented youth around. Everybody is doing very good ads. Everybody is doing, very interesting things. Whereas 20, 25 years ago, you could get away with doing something really interesting. And, all of us know that Amul jingle that came out and suddenly it stood out amongst everything. Today, that it's not that easy to do it. So that is where my entire, belief or passion comes out, where I feel this differentiation that is much needed today is where customer service, arises as the biggest brand building tool, assuming that everything else is done. Your product is great, your advertising is great, and whatever the other parts are, your design is great, your experience is magical. Customer service is like it seals the deal. Okay. So I had read somewhere, and I just remembered it's fitting in very well over here, that uh, a differentiated brand can only be built if you have if there is a head plus heart response to in relationship to a brand symbol or a brand logo. Okay, so just to kind of break that down, you can do, everybody does really nice campaigns, very attractive slogans, and etc etc, very nice experience, say if it's an app or if it's a, say you walk into a hotel, so that is all heart. Okay, that is appealing to your heart, that creates brand love, that creates affinity. And then there is a head part of it, right? So the head part of it, I think, can be, you have to direct it in a way that customer service can lead that part. Because when a person, I, for example, let me take my example, I really like the brand Jeep, and I've bought a Jeep and I have a Jeep and etc, but I have a huge issue with the service. Okay, so it completely eats into your brand, all the money
Yeah.
that you spend, all the money that you spend as a brand to do all that advertising, to do everything, to have really good showrooms, to have people talking very nicely. The minute your after sales service is like a completely the a horrible experience, there it like completely negatively, it reduces all the efforts you've done, pre-sales. So that is how customer service is important, and that is why I truly believe that it needs to be, it's an engine, it's a powerhouse that you have internally. Okay, you can't control a lot of things, but your customer service you can control, and a lot of people do it. I mean, I'm not saying they don't, but my perspective is a little slightly, I would say, different, in the sense that I believe that. Like I have this term which I had again read somewhere, which I like, is called on-brand customer service. So it
Okay.
basically means that your customer service should be in line with your brand identity.
See, you're talking about, like, I mean, of a product, okay, and a service that happens after you buy the product. Okay, but the way we are seeing now, I mean, the kind, and especially, with these say fintech products or any of these which are more technology driven, the whole experience starts from the word go. The moment you see the ad, that's when it all starts. So we don't have to wait to actually what do you call it, buy the product.
So the example I took was in the auto space. That's why I spoke of pre-sales,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
post-sales. But like you rightly said, you pick any app, right? Your experience and your customer service starts with the word go, right? You have chatbots, and you have you have calls. Everything is all part of customer service. Even your app is part of customer service, honestly. So I think it's a thin line between where the product ends and when customer service begins in an app. Because yeah, so that's what it is. Um so I was saying that the customer service should be in line with your brand identity. Now, what does that mean? It sounds very nice, but what does that mean? Because everybody who has customer service, whether it's from the word go or from pre-sales, post-sales, during the experience, onboarding, whatever it is, nobody intentionally wants to have bad customer service, right? Everybody trains their
Yeah.
team. Everybody says, you talk like this, you say hello like this is your soft skills. Everyone does it, right?
Yeah.
But my view is is a little, matlab, it's one step ahead, where I'm saying that, so I call it the three C's. This is my own, since everybody is saying five this and three that and
Yeah.
all. Three C's, which is, one is create brand ambassadors, not
Okay.
customer service representatives. So
Hmm.
be it whether they're calling, be it whether they're on a chatbot, whether it's an app, whether you're just interacting on a website, okay, every communication has to be as though that entity, whether it's a live person or a machine, it's your brand ambassador. It's your brand ambassador. It's your brand spokesperson. It's not a agent or a representative. So how do you do that? Okay, so so let me take an example of where there is actually a human team. Say there is a service intensive product. So even in a fintech product, or even in a product like Swiggy, for example, there is an entire call center they have set up, right? Because there is
Yeah.
troubleshooting issues and everything. So
Yeah.
while the app is an experience, the website is an experience in terms of customer service, but uh, you have to instill in your, say, callers, okay, that you are actually the voice of the brand. Okay, they already know what to do, they're trained what to do. But what I've realized is it makes a big difference, because anybody, most people, when they're felt to made to feel that their role is important, they will excel at it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a hangover we have. And it's sad that even the customer service people have it, unless it's a very very high luxury industry. Customer service always feels that, oh, we are doing a very mechanical job. We are just dealing with, that's the feeling I get. I'm not making a claim, I could be wrong, but it's especially the front end people, management, of course, comes from a different perspective. So I've realized that if you instill in them that you are actually, all the brand work that our team is doing is going out to the customer through you. So you are an
Yeah.
extension of our team. So that really enthuses people and kind of makes them, so every time they're doing a call or an interaction or anything, or even the guy who's designing your website. So if you say, listen, you're not a technical guy doing the website, you are the one telling the world what you're my source. So I realized that works really well for people. The other thing, my second thing that I say often is consult your customer service management, right? So use customer service as your McKinsey. Use customer service as your consultant. Because
Yeah.
while we all spend millions on research and everything, and that needs to be done, brand tracks XYZ, this is like literally real time research insights that you have on a daily basis. They are actually there live, and it's like the stock market ticker that you say. So on a
Yeah.
day to day basis, what is going
Yes.
on. So
Yes.
so you have to leverage them, you have to treat them like a consultant. So for example, if you are wanting to launch a brand campaign, you know uh, I don't think too many, there's not a culture of doing it, but I would say you should sit down with customer service and say, okay, this is what all can be, what all are the insights, what all can be. So clearly they are not, see, everyone has a different role, right? So they will not be able to come out with a campaign line, and that's not the expectation. But they will come up with insights which you would have never even thought, or which any research that a market research agency is doing will cannot come up with, right? So that is the second thing which I think is really really important for brand building. So take inputs from them. And the third thing, yeah, and the third C is connect on calls. Okay, so I think any marketing team in any category, startup, corporate, typical corporate, banking, non-banking, it doesn't matter. The marketing team and the brand team, in fact, all teams, I would say, product design and all, but definitely the brand and marketing team should listen into calls. It should be part
Yeah.
of, this thing, because it's very different to sit in a boardroom and plan something for a brand and actually know what's happening on ground, right?
Yeah.
And for the
Yeah.
product and sales guys, it happens because sales guys interact, and there is that constant thing happening. But sometimes for the brand team, you start living in that bubble where you've created this thing and stuff, but you have to have that connect. And customer service is a great way to be in touch with your customer, because while there is, it can end up, end up listening to a lot of negativity, because human nature is that you call customer care or
Yeah.
you reach out when there's an issue. But you should be able to sift through that and also get insights. Okay, so these
Yeah.
are the three
So
things. Yeah.
perfect. Actually, they've all touched my heart somewhere. And I'll tell you why. Because I have seen, the sudden, what do you call it, lighting of a bulb many times when, the management has actually listened to the service person defending the brand. It's like, people get that feeling of pride saying that, this person is defending my brand so passionately. That's like the thing. Of course, the second one that you said, listening, there is absolutely no question about not listening to customers. Because see, on one hand, as you said, there are those models by which, I mean, there are all those scoring models and the typical research that you do, but that's one side. That's more, I think, from a product perspective, and it's a different thing. But here, when you're actually listening to the customer live, that gives a completely different idea of the whole thing. And of course, everyone must listen to calls and everyone must listen to customers. That's clearly a very it's a very important thing. So yeah, I think what you've said is bang on this. What should be done, and to have service as a brand, so to say. I mean, I use it in that particular manner.
So yeah, so like I said, the three C's are create brand ambassadors, brand spokespersons instead of customer service representatives. Consult your customer service management. The people who actually manage the front end people. The management level.
Yeah.
And the third thing is, like I said, connect on calls. So these are the three things I think are imperative to be able to make your customer service like a brand building engine.
Yes.
It just becomes, it powers the entire thing, and it has a multiplier effect.
Yeah.
So if you're doing campaigns and everything, and your customer service is, also talking the same language, it has a multiplier effect to the monies you've put in. And likewise, if it's not, then it literally, you could spend millions, but it would be seeming like very little, because it kind of just negates those.
That's true. So the coming together is fine. But now, while it sounds easy, not really easy, but yeah, while it sounds nice to say this, how do you make this happen? Because, in a small organization, if there are just 2-3 people who decide and who do everything, but of course, they are not spending as much money. But when we are talking about larger organizations, there's a lot at stake. So how do you ensure that this all happens? How do we do it?
So I see it as there are, whether it's of course, easier in a smaller organization, like you said, but whatever kind of organization it is, there are 4 stakeholders. The most important one, the first one being the leadership. Okay. Because using customer service as a brand building engine or a brand building tool is a strategic decision.
Yeah.
It's not that one person can suddenly stand up and say, this is the brand manual, this is the brand deck. Accordingly, my team will talk, or whatever. It has to come literally from the, the top management. And, a little while ago, you gave an example where people are listening in and they're actually happy that, that the person right in the front understands what the passion is at the promoter level, at the MD level or whatever. So it is the first thing is the leadership. Okay. There has to be a buy-in, there has to be a belief from there, right? And specifically in larger organizations, where it's hierarchical, the leadership plays a huge role, because, the typical town halls and everything, if such a thing is kind of said, such a thing is posed and such a thing is explained, then it becomes uniformly, everybody knows in the direction in which it is moving. Everybody knows, okay, this is what, we are going to do. So leadership buy-in and leadership actually believing in this is extremely important. I would say it's the first step.
Yeah.
Okay. The second is all the people who interact with the customer in any way, directly or indirectly, other than the customer service team. Okay. So like marketing teams, HR teams, if it's a bank kind of a scenario, then collections, sales, that, or if it's auto, like I earlier said, everybody at the showroom, everybody may not be the actual, is not considered customer service team directly, but they are interacting with the customers directly or indirectly, right? So the marketing team also interacts with customers.
Yeah.
Obviously through campaigns and everything.
Yeah. So, I've been talking to some mid-management people, people who handle these kind of teams. And, there's one thing that all of them say, that's a little strange, but that's what they, all of them say, is that while our management talks about customer service, but it doesn't really happen in the things that they do. They're not able to, really figure out if there's a difficulty. They're not really able to find solutions to it. So it's also walking the talk. It's, just not choosing.
Yeah, absolutely.
To,
of course.
Yeah, please continue.
Of course, it has to be implementation also. And that brings me to the next segment, that the next stakeholder to say so.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, and this is the most important stakeholder after leadership, I would say, is the cadre which manages the people who are actually talking to the customers, right? because if I may say so, with no offense to anyone, it's the brain behind the customer service, right? So they are telling the front end people what to do. They're leading them. They're guiding them, right? So the implementation, they play a huge role in implementation. So as the marketing or brand team, we had this thing I'm sure everywhere it's there, but in ICICI we had this train the trainer, something that we had started. So that I am reminded of that multiple times, because that is very important here, to imbibe in them, to make this level feel that they are going out there and building the brand, right? And how you do it is like what I told you, that you talk to them about brand identity, talk to them when you're creating a campaign, include them in conversations, get inputs from them. So the minute you feel like, and again, it's all human behavior, when you feel like a part of it, you feel empowered, right? Because like you said, I can offer lip service and say you are the voice of my brand, and never include them in any conversation, and then they literally see the ad when it comes on TV, without knowing what is going on. Then there's a difference. Then there's a huge gap, right? So the implementation part, where they feel how I would say that needs to be done is include them in all wherever needed. I mean, of course, you can't, if you have a 1,000 member customer service team, you can't include
representation.
That's what I'm saying.
Representation. Yeah.
The management. That's what I'm saying. Management, which is say team leaders, one level, that in a big organization, that so you feel a part of what is going out into the mass media.
Yeah. So I have this question now to you. When we talk about, the traditional way we're talking about, say, banking or a company which has this typical, call center and where people manage service to some extent. You've done, you are working with a startup who is completely into technology. It's not this traditional way of, I have a problem, I will call you. So then where does this people portion come over there?
So like I said in the beginning, it's everything, right? So for example, a chatbot replaces people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that chatbot is being managed by a backend team, which is people, right? So the chatbot is also being programmed and being, created by people.
Yeah.
So, let me quickly, take an example of Swiggy. I don't know if you've ever used the Swiggy chatbot.
No, not.
It is done so beautifully, and I keep telling everybody this. It is nothing fancy. It is very simple, but they are so quick to give you a resolution. And they have complete trust in you. So if you say the packaging was spoiled, or if you say, the items were not there, they don't waste a single second. They will say, okay, upload a picture. You upload a picture. They will not question it. They will not take time to assess it. Your money is reversed. So it is in line with their brand image, right? Young, transparent, trustworthy. So when you do that, like I literally, the first time that happened, I had goosebumps, because very rarely do you, otherwise they will take 5 days to figure out, are you genuine, are you this, are you that? So obviously Swiggy is taking a chance, okay? In a country like India, there'll be a lot of people just also saying the food is bad when it's not, right? But I also believe, I am a firm believer that if you are so transparent and trustworthy, after some point, even the customer gets ashamed of taking advantage.
Yeah. And not everybody does it. Actually, it's like the same thing that you're saying, I hear it so often that if we give one, then everybody will ask, this is a very typical statement of, when we talk about reversals, or sometimes they say, no, all customers will complain, but it doesn't happen that way. I mean, even human behavior is not so, off track. People still follow.
And I was, sorry.
Yeah, people still follow some rules. They have some ethics. Yeah, maybe one off here and there, but then you don't have to trouble everybody. And this is very typical of, especially where money is concerned in these financial companies. I mean, sometimes even if you have been, with a bank or even with a company for more than 20 years, you've had your accounts with them. They know all your history, geography. They know you've got, they should trust you. You think they should trust you, but what happens is when the same one size fits all rules apply to everybody, that's when you feel that, okay, what's the difference then?
Yeah. So coming back to your question, so in a app kind of an environment, so there is a real time help that has happened. It's all replaced by machine, but like I said, it's powered by the humans only. So even in the app, if there is a help section in the app, how do you handle that? How should the flow of the help section be? It should be in line with your. So if you're
Yeah.
saying you're a tech powered brand, if you're saying you're modern tech powered, then your solutions have to be
Yes.
fast. Your solutions have to be quick.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that is what I mean when I say you have to be in match with your brand identity.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you now. I've given you app examples. I'll tell you another one is Airbnb. Okay, I use it very often. Even that, it's extremely seamless, extremely simple, and it is completely trustworthy. So if you say there was an issue, or you give a bad review, immediately they will call you. They will check up. So you have a value of you are valued as a customer.
Yeah.
It's not that exactly what you said, that there's a lot of talk and nothing is really happening. It's not like I've just taken that would be another thing. Then even in fintech apps, especially, whether you're if you're a credit card, then you have repayments is always a thing, right?
Yeah.
So how do you handle repayments? It's a very sensitive thing. Even there, you handle it positively rather than handling it in a threatening. And it is proven again. There's this fear that people will take advantage if we are soft. But actually, research has proven that that's not true. In fact, if you're soft, of course there will be outliers everywhere. If you're soft and if you're understanding, it is proven that repayments improve. Because you're giving them a solution. So yeah. So I was saying that it's research has proven that if you are especially in the case of repayments, if you're more solution oriented and help oriented, your overall repayments record improves rather than if you're being forceful or threatening or anything like that. It's the new school of thought.
Yeah, no, but this is, I think, as far as service is concerned or experience is concerned, it has to be solution oriented. I mean, I just can't imagine any brand trying to serve the customer by being the problem and not the solution.
Yeah, no, I'm meaning specifically in terms of repayments and collections.
Yeah.
Because there is a thing of recovering money. So the it's customer service, but it's recovering money.
Yeah.
So while we spoke of online examples and app driven products, two other offline examples that are my favorites are one is Starbucks. I mean, you would have gone to a Starbucks. So the entire experience is very simple, but very nice, So when Starbucks first came into India, my personal reaction was, my God, who will pay 300 rupees for a coffee? Like, who's going to pay 300 rupees for a coffee? And there are many people, I am one of them today, because it's just completely hassle-free.
Yeah.
You get the standard product. You don't have to tell them what you exactly, they follow instructions. That's all part of customer service, right?
Yeah.
And again, like a very nice thing is, if people are very particular, you see in a lot of other coffee shops, people will, they don't want to customize. Now, customization is something Starbucks stands for, right? So if you go back to them and say, this coffee is not okay, can you do this? They just throw the coffee and make another one.
Yeah. It's very trusting. It's very trusting. Yeah.
In fact, a couple of times I told them, don't waste it. Don't waste it, But it's that level of this thing that, okay, you don't like it, that's fine. We're not even going to argue whether we did it right or not.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that makes an impression. So what happens is you end up, if Starbucks goofs up on something, I will tend to forgive it lots of times, because of, the bond that has formed, and the brand has formed through customer service. That's the point I'm trying to make. That,
Yeah.
So, and the last example I'd like to give is this. There's this brand called Coach.
Yeah.
It's a very famous semi-luxury brand. So a couple of years ago, I was in New York for some work, and I am not a luxury brand person at all. But I walked in with my colleague because And then there were all these obviously very, very high-end, expensive purses and everything. And it was a 2-layer shop. So I got into the elevator. I don't know why, because it was only 1 floor. And it was a really nice looking glass elevator and all. So I got into it to go to the first floor, and the elevator got stuck in between the 2 floors. Okay. So while everything is visible, here was this fancy luxury shop where the elevator got stuck. Okay. So and the way they managed it. Okay. So my natural thing was, oh, this is America. It will happen in 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or whatever. So it took a whole hour for that technician to come. And they made sure, like there was a little gap there. They made sure they gave me coffee from there and everything. So little things, very little things. There was no need for it. But that 1 hour in the elevator, if it was anywhere else, I would have thrown a fit. Saying, I'm stuck here and nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
But they handled it very so nicely that a person who never buys any luxury goods, I walked out with a wallet. I bought a wallet from there.
Yeah.
Because that is the brand association. That is that's how you create brand love, using customer service.
Correct.
And all spontaneous. These things can't be trained.
No.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, and there's also this thing about, you shouldn't only be giving something, but you should also be perceived to be giving. See, that makes a big difference. I mean, they could have not given you coffee, right? But the point, they could have just asked you. But the point is that, it's that feel that you get, that somebody's trying. And as you rightly said, it's also that, if things go right, and once in a way, or sometimes they go wrong, you're okay to forgiving the brand. So that's where this whole thing about consistency comes. See, consistency and trust go hand in hand, right? So, when you're doing it all the time, and when it's established that, yes, this is how it's going to be done, then, it's okay if once in a way it doesn't happen. I think that's how it works. Yeah. So, so Manasi, see, we've been talking about how, this whole, there are these auto channels, that's the IVR and the chatbot, and, whatever else that you might have, even written communication sometimes. And you've done some work around this also. How does one ensure that all the channels, okay, and all the people talk the same language? Is there some way by which this can be done?
Yeah. So I'll tell you how I do it. And it's always worked for me. So I look at it as an extension of my team. So if I have, for example, 5 people in my brand team, I have to make them as enthused and passionate as I am about the brand, or the management is about the brand, so that they are able to also, whether I'm there or not there, they are delivering, they're as passionate, right?
Yeah.
And how does that happen? So I'm taking one step back. How does that happen? So of course, every company has a brand deck, has a brand manual, has a philosophy, has a brand purpose and everything. But I've realized that, why do you wake up and come to office every morning? Why are you doing this, what you do? Apart from the fact that you're doing it to run your house, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
It's something that really, there's no quantitative answer to this. It is, I think, as a leader, as somebody in the middle management or the senior management, it is part of your, role to kind of get in that enthusiasm and transfer that. And so to answer your question, whether it's your customer service or your chatbot team or your app development team or your design team, consistency can be brought by, sharing with everybody the larger goal. Like, what is the brand purpose? That is where, actually, good you asked this question. One way to do it, or traditionally how it's done, is scripts are given to everybody.
Yeah.
Rules are given to everybody.
Yeah. I find
These
them,
are the 10 things
I find them very suffocating. I like people to be creative and do their own, little bit of their own thing.
So I believe that what I said in the beginning, that if you make them realize that building the brand is not only these 5 people or 10 people or one person's job. They're all extended arms and they are all building the brand, So then that entire approach changes. You can still give them a script, like an outline.
Yeah.
But when they feel that, oh, I am talking on behalf of like there was a campaign, I forget which brand this is, that I am Swiggy. Like, I'm not working for Swiggy. I am Swiggy. I'm talking on their behalf, on its behalf,
Yeah.
So I think that is a natural and creative way of bringing unification. What you said about how do you get everybody to talk the same way, right? And I think it is hard work. It is because it's about, you're talking about like getting 10 functions to talk the same, to behave and feel the same way. So I think more than, I would say the challenge is to get them to all feel the same way, rather than getting them to behave in a certain way. Because if they all share the same drive and passion and this thing, it'll show in the work. And of course, like you rightly said, in a 3,000 member company and a 300 member company, the task is that the effort is a lot different in both cases. But then the advantage in a 3,000 member company is you also have hierarchy.
Yeah.
So one person or 10 people are not attending to 3,000, right? Everyone is attending to their, So there are pros and cons. But my answer would be that the focus should be on making them feel in a certain way, and then just leaving them so that they do the stuff. Like you said, andar se aana chahiye. Creativity has to come from inside. It is not that I will mug up the script and I will say this because this is what the brand
too artificial. That's too artificial. Yeah.
And then it shows, and then it shows. It looks very robotic, and you can tell that it's not the same.
Yeah, it's like after you have called up for a problem and the problem doesn't get solved, and still the person, because it's a part of the script, asks you, is there something else that I can do for you? And you want to say, oh no, just solve the problem that I've given you just now. It's so typical. And especially those last 3-4 lines are just not required, the ones which are as a part of the script. Yeah, you're right in a way. So how I'm looking at it is that, of course, as service as a brand is one thing that distinguishes one company from another. The other piece that what I'm just trying to gather is that leadership intent is very important, and what they communicate, and they walk the talk. The other thing is also how it percolates down the line, because it should go down to the last person. And there's another piece that I would like to add to what you've also said, is that some kind of a checking mechanism to make sure that it is happening. It's that last piece. So it need not be a very strict way, but it should become a part of maybe all the checks that are done to make sure that everything is going out. Like, just maybe hold some physical letters, have a look at some 10 or 20 emails to make sure that they're all aligned, and whether some correction is required somewhere. I think that completes the entire circle.
Absolutely. So, like I said, the hearing in of calls that we spoke about and we both agreed, it has many advantages. You get, as the brand team, you get insights. It's a normal way of checking also whether it's going on fine. It's like when you intercept calls. Similarly, emails or etc., or even app screens or whatever, depending on what the product is. But another thing I do, and I think it really works again, but that's at a management leadership level, is you have to keep conducting workshops initially every month and then every quarter, so that there is this, it's like this infusion of
freshness.
Because especially in bigger organizations, the distance is too far between the leadership and the front end staff, right?
Yes.
So it need not always be an offsite to Thailand. That it should not be like that. It could just be, there are different ways to do it, right? But in fact, I would imagine town halls and all started like that, because you want to have that interaction and stuff. So only thing is, nowadays the younger and younger crowd is obviously, the lesser formal you make it, the more receptive they are. So even if you just like order some food and stuff after work, and sit down and say, okay, what do you do? Does anyone have any new brand ideas? I'm talking pure with the customer service. Does anyone have any ideas? Have you had some customer interactions which you want to share? Or what I intend to do is, share like every month or every quarter what we are planning to do for the brand. Do you think what we are doing is right?
Yeah.
These things, then it continues to, okay, this is not what you said. It is, because the first response to anything is, oh, they just say all this, they really won't do anything. That's the normal
Yeah,
response of
yeah,
any
yeah,
employee. That this is all just, I've seen this many times kind
yeah,
of thing.
yeah,
So it does require effort.
yeah,
It does require effort. But my point being that the effort will reap so many benefits for the brand, the business, everything, that I think it's completely worth it.
yeah, yeah. Very interesting. So it's a very. I think we need to have another session completely on how to communicate. But just to
Yeah,
conclude,
absolutely.
yeah. So just to conclude this, is there some takeaway or some message that you want to give to the listeners? Any whatever that you think they should keep with them?
Well, I think I'll say, exactly, I'll sum up what I've been saying all throughout, that, all marketers, all brand builders, everybody uh, should not, undermine, what a powerful internal engine customer service can be. And it can completely fuel all your efforts,
Yeah.
It can, so it creates a multiplier effect like nothing else if you take this route. And if you start looking at it as like a typical marketer brain is, oh, if we do ATL campaigns, our brand is going to get built. If we do this, our brand is going to get built. If we do that, so I would say, I would urge everybody to add to that along with all this, which is all very important, if you start looking at your customer service team as not just a execution level team, but as a brand building tool, then you will instantly see the difference. Because it's just about, it's like, I keep telling people, it's like there's an engine available in your house and you're not using it. You just have to
Yeah.
switch on the machine.
Yes. Yes.
All you have to do is switch it on and then it'll start doing its
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's what I would say.
So, thank you so much, Manasi, for your time, for sharing your experience, and for the energy and the enthusiasm that you exude on this subject. And I'm sure we'll connect again, and we'll talk about some other topic in detail. Thank you so much
Yes,
once again.
absolutely, Satinder. Look forward. And thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.
It was really good to talk.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.